If you can't get the money, I don't care how great you are at sales, you can't close transactions if they don't fund. Does that make sense? If you can't get the money for a deal, there's no deal.
Right. I mean, that's the other side of the transaction, right? I mean, absolutely. Can't come to the closing table with, an empty checkbook.
Yeah, and look, a lot of these buyers are coming into the market, and then let's say they've got 400 grand, 600 grand, $1 million. They're still trying to leverage into those purchases, right? And so they're trying to borrow money from a bank or the capital markets or whatever it may be. And again, most of these brokers that are coming out of like a different profession, they just take a business and they walk it down to a bank like Chase or Wells Fargo, and they don't understand how to either package it correctly or what bank to take it to. And so that deal will just die. Because again, if you can't get the funding, the buyer can't acquire the business, and the seller's certainly not going to finance 100% of the purchase, right? It's just too risky. These people have built a business for 20 or 30 years. They're looking to exit, cash out, and kind of transition. Most of them are transitioning into retirement, so to speak. And even if they're not, they're still looking for a payday, right? So
Absolutely.
you got to be able to bring the money to the table. And I know I'm kind of emphasizing this, but I really believe that's why we sell such a high number of businesses, because my deals are funding primarily mostly in cash, maybe a little bit of seller financing, usually no more than 10%, and the rest is in cash. And again, my secret sauce and my background allows me to go get money for these deals, and that's why they close.
I can imagine someone from the outside just thinking about it, coming in, trying to put the deal together, and asking a lot from the seller. Like, can you finance 3/4 of this? We'll give you 25% down, like a mortgage for a house or something. And if they're trying to cash out and get out of the business, I can't imagine that would be very attractive. I mean, do you see things
Yeah,
like that from the other side?
all the time. There's an onslaught through TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. There are a lot of, I would say, acquisition gurus that have kind of entered the space in the last few years. And they're telling everybody that this is the silver summit, or I don't know what they call it. But the baby boomers are retiring, and there's all these businesses out there, good businesses, and they have nobody to sell them to. And so they're encouraging people, to get out there and make these seller finance type offers so that they can take them over. Now, let me flip the script on that. So, yes, there's a tremendous amount of people out here making, in my opinion, ridiculous offers. Now, I'll give you a scenario. So, let's say you own a $10 million business. You've owned it for 25 or 30 years. You're somewhere between 58 and 65 years old. It's provided a good living. You've made a lot of money, etc. And let's say like I said, your business is worth $10 million. You're looking to exit. You're retiring at 60. Theoretically, you probably have at least another 20 to 25 years, right, to go before you pass away. And you want to do some things, travel, etc. Maybe leave some money to your spouse / kids, etc. So you're there and you're finally ready to cash in your business. Someone approaches you and says, look, I know your business is worth $10 million. I will give you $500,000 now, and then I will pay you, what is that? $600,000 a year for the next 10 years of your life. Does that sound like a good deal? No, it sounds like a terrible deal. Here's why. One, if they come in and they fail, they will have assumed control of a $10 million asset. Could they ruin that business? Yeah, they could. The economy could change. The market could change. That person could come in and be a tyrant. Let's say they've got no business being in manufacturing. They have a terrible personality. They come in, the employees quit. There's all these types of scenarios that could happen, and that business would go down not only in revenue, but it would go down in value. And by the time they start defaulting on those payments, they're no longer allowed to make those. They don't have the money to pay you. You would then have to file a lawsuit, go to court, win, get a judgment, then take the business back. Let's just say that takes 12 months. By the time that 12-month period and you get your business back, it's probably nearly out of business or in shambles. So now you're back in it at 63.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to resurrect an asset that was once worth 10 million and now it's just a joke. And you don't have the energy or they're 63 years old. So that's why I have a distaste for those type of offers, because you're really asking these people to take a huge risk on you with little to no experience, and their business is worth $10 million. That deal should look more like, I'll give you 8.5 and I'll pay you 1.5 over time. Well, give me a little bit of vested interest back. Like, I want you to carry a little bit of paper to show me that you believe in this business, but the rest has got to come in cash. I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to sign a personal guarantee or whatever is on the loan. I'm going to put up my own cash, and then I'll pay you a little bit over time. Help me piece that deal together. That's the type of deals that get done. And more importantly, that's the type of deals that sellers deserve that have built a business for 25 or 30 years. Year cap. So this was an earnout. He was going to pay him 5% of gross revenue. Okay. So if it's, I think they're doing like, I can't remember, 3.8 million in revenue. And that would equate to like 250 grand a year. But if the business went up after he took it over, so let's say he starts doing 5, 6, 7 million in revenue, he's still capped to pay 250. Does that make sense? He was going to pay those guys no more than 250. But if the business went down, let's say the revenue went down because he's a bad operator, then their payment terms would go down with it. He was still only going to pay him 5% of revenue. So let's say he tanks it, takes it down to, it's just garbage, man. And I'm on the phone with this guy talking to him, and I'm like, dude, these guys are making $2 million a year. They're making 150, 200 grand a month in profit, and you're going to give them 300 grand down, and then take this business over. And if it tanks, they're only going to pay you 30 or 50K, a year. I'm seeing more and more of it, and it's frustrating. And I think it's predatory, but more importantly, it's disrespectful to these sellers.
Yeah, you'd think you'd have to give respect first. I don't know if I built a business for that long, worth that much money, whatever that number is, that I would want to give it up without, someone that can take it over. And I think I'd have my heart in it still. So you're going to have to buy me almost completely out. I don't want to go down the road.
And the thing is, too, is where they're failing, in my opinion, is, well, I'll give you a twofold answer. One, on those good businesses, even when you make a strong offer, right, and they like your offer, those sellers are still very, very vested with their employees because they spent 20 or 30 years. That reputation of that business is important to them. So even if they like your numbers, we spend about 30 to 60 days in due diligence. My sellers are vetting you as a person. It happens from time to time. Like, they'll just say, Josh, hey, I don't like this guy. I love the offer. Can you find me the same offer with a better human being? Sometimes we have to pull out because they just don't like the person. That's what people miss too, is it's like, the seller still has to buy into you as a person because they're handing you their legacy.
Right.
It's twofold. They've got to like the numbers and the terms, and they've got to like you as a person if they're going to hand you their baby. And people are missing that nowadays.
Yeah, I could see that. They're just trying to put a good deal together for the one side and not thinking about the whole picture. I mean, my experience.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, in my experience, any larger deal is not just a transaction. If it involves, ongoing operations or even real estate, which is more my background, the larger, more complex deals they often come with the business, right? It's part of the brick and mortar or the factory or whatever it happens to be. But now it's a bigger picture, and people stepping back to look at, hey, what are the interests and what personal interest they have in this business or this property, moving forward after they do all this work. You can't ruin it for them. So it's not all money, I guess, is my point. But I'll leave you to be the expert.
I was going to say the caveat to that, David, is this. I do believe there are deals out there where you can do that, meaning offer very little down and then payments over time. But chances are those are businesses that are in distress, right?
Yes.
And that's okay. Like, people have made a lot of money doing that. Turnarounds. I live in a neighborhood. You may or may not know the gentleman. His name's Mitt Romney. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, maybe.
He ran for president a few years ago. Very successful guy.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, very successful guy. But that's what he specializes in, is turnarounds. So like he bought Domino's Pizza when they were tanking, like not doing well at all. And he turned that around, and then they sold it for a big, big number. So the point is there are deals out there to be made where you can go, look, you guys are going out of business. If you don't do something now, like something bad's going to happen, you're going to get a great deal on that business, but you're also going to walk into kind of a mess that you're going to have to fix. And if you can fix it and turn it around, yeah, you're going to have a monster upside and an exit, but you're going to take on that risk of this is a sick property, right? Like this is not doing well. You've got to know that going in. But a premium business that's operating at a high level, high profit, smooth, you're going to pay a premium for that business. You're not going to get a predatory out.
No, that makes sense. Now, our focus on my business here is technology and AI as well, but technology, automation, and that sort of thing. What role do the systems and the technologies, the automation have in the valuation of a particular business?
It's a great question, and we're kind of on the early stages of that. I just had a meeting yesterday with a guy that's doing some AI stuff, and it's going to be a long-winded answer, but here's why.
Okay.
So inside of a business, when you're doing a valuation of a business, the financials make a big component of it. Like having clean books, how much profit. There are different tiers for different multiples, 500K, 1 million, 2 million. The bigger you get, the multiples get bigger on the exits, etc. Your infrastructure matters. Do you have a president, a GM, a CFO, a controller? As that tiers down and there's more infrastructure inside of a business, it's more of a business than a job, right? Like, meaning the owner is not a vital part in this business. They've got infrastructure, big component on the multiple as well. But then the intricate details are intrinsic value, patents, IP, processes, procedures. Now we're starting to see stuff like AI components coming in. Again, it's early in the process. I haven't really seen a whole lot of AI stuff valued in exits right now. But the meeting I had yesterday, we were talking to a guy, and he's kind of in the bio health space, and they're launching this company, and it's really AI driven, and it's supposed to be, you take a test and it'll tell you, ibuprofen's bad for you, but Tylenol's good. Testosterone, you should be taking it, but you should be taking 3 shots a week instead of 1 shot a week. And the AI component kind of reads your chemical makeup of your body, and then it gives you like a diagnosis. Real kind of cutting edge stuff, right?
Yes, right.
And it's amazing what AI does because it's kind of an unbiased approach. Like, how AI is, it's like it just spits facts based on whatever data it's receiving.
Right.
And so as we were talking about that and where AI is going, we kind of both think that, in the next 4 to 5 years, there's going to be a major run in the AI space. Meaning, you're going to see a bunch of companies getting into the AI space. We're already seeing it. And the multiples will get crazy, like 20, 30, 100x revenue type multiples, right? Like, and some of these guys are going to exit as just obscene numbers. And if you're in that timing window,
Right.
they're going to have massive paydays. And then what's likely to happen is some of those are going to fail, right? They're going to way overpay, for these companies, and then they're going to fail. And the reason that we allude to that is we've seen it. The .com bubble. Do you remember when they were paying crazy multiples for websites back in the early 2000s?
Right.
And then there was the crash, right? About 6 years ago, software as a service was hot, like crazy hot. I'm saying pre-COVID, they were getting big multiples, and then they were paying for them, and then there was a lot of defaults, like 2 or 3 years post-acquisition, and those SaaS models have softened quite a bit. So AI, I really feel we'll see the same thing. You're going to see a run-up where you're going to hear about Instagram-type numbers. $2 billion for Instagram with no revenue. Like, that was mind-blowing. Like, no one quite understood that, right? You're like, what is this? But nowadays, if you were to try to create Instagram again, I don't think you'd get anything close to that type of valuation because other companies have done it. People probably have lost money investing in Instagram spinoffs, and they'll soften. But I do believe it. 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to see a monster run up. You'll hear about some massive exits in the AI space, and then there will be like a course correction where it'll eventually level out, and AI will have actual data of what you're supposed to pay for those companies. But if you're in the game, man, you could seriously get paid in the next 5 years if you've got a hot product.
Yeah, that's not the plan right now, but I know the potential that's out there. I hadn't heard from someone that is a professional in valuation, but yes, it's a very leveraged business model. So that's why we were very attracted to this kind of in our own space we've been in, but we're bringing on the people that know how to actually do the technology and do the work. I'm not here to pitch my business, so I'm going to move on from there. But actually, let me flip that around to your business as far as technology. What have you seen in your business, the changes in technology and systems, and has that been a part of your success?
A little bit. So the access to information has increased dramatically over the last 10 years. And that's just through the internet and just as the internet continues to kind of compound, it gets better, right? AI wasn't around 10 years ago. Now we have AI. So the access to information is more readily accessible. And I would argue that it's more accurate than ever. It's very difficult. And so this serves both sides. It's very difficult for a seller to kind of overinflate their offer, meaning that you can't ask $100 million for your business because a buyer can just do so much research as to whether your valuation is accurate or not, right? This is like, you can't bluff anymore. It just doesn't work. But on the other side, buyers are at a disadvantage because sellers are coming to the table with more documentation than ever and validation as to why their business is worth something. So when a buyer comes in and they're kind of trying to like work the angle, sellers, if you've got a good advisor, we are very prepared to show them comps, data, research, other transactions, industry market research as to where this is going, why it's, COVID proof or whatever you want to call it. We're just coming to the table with more documentation than ever to validate our sale price. And so it's stronger than it's ever been. I mean, 10 years ago, the data we're using now didn't exist 10 years ago.
That has to be very powerful. I know I use even the simplest version, which is most people's version of AI right now, is like ChatGPT. All the research, the data, you got to verify it, sure, but it's right there at your fingertips. And then you can drill down and drill down and drill down and, or widen it, look for comps within another market area, whatever it happens to be. It's been very powerful and definitely in our space.
The one thing that I would say that I don't see changing anytime soon in a lot of industries is there's still a human component. When I'm selling somebody's business, the human owns it, right? I'm not dealing with a robot, and the buyer is also a human. So even though it's layered with financials, documentation, validation, all the stuff that I just told you about, don't miss out on the nuance of human to human connection, right? It's still a vital component in getting deals done because you can have all the data in the world, but I just told you if the two parties don't like each other, there's not going to be a deal. Don't miss the human connection part of business. I don't see that being replaced anytime soon. I think AI is helping us become a more educated marketplace, but we still have to be mindful that we can't lose our social skills, if that's so to speak. It's human to human transactions. They still exist.
No, I like that. That's a great soundbite right there, all by itself. I don't know if some people are losing track of that. It seems like we could easily in the future lose track of that if we're not paying attention to it. Let me ask you maybe a kind of a wrap-up question here. For those that watch this on their journey to starting a new business or, expanding their business, what advice would you give to other business owners or entrepreneurs on their journey?
Okay, a couple things. One, I'm a big believer that sales cures all problems. Too many people get wrapped up in like the business plan, the marketing plan, the operation and organizational chart. There's all this stuff that comes with business. But man, if you can make it rain and the sales are coming in, like you can solve all the problems in the world if the money's coming through the door. And we shouldn't forget about that. Too many entrepreneurs get too caught up in the other stuff and don't focus on making it rain.
That is great advice. I do remember working on a startup business right out of college, very green, and we worked on our business plan forever, and it never went anywhere. We couldn't get we needed about $250,000. This has been several years ago now, but we couldn't even raise that much money. So I think that's great advice. It hits home with me. Yeah, definitely as well. Um, Excellent. Any final thoughts here, Josh, that we want to share with the audience? I definitely appreciated this conversation and hearing
No,
your
yeah.
viewpoint.
Look, we're in a nuanced stage of business, like we just talked about. We talked a little bit about AI and just transformational and where companies are going, et cetera. I mean, it's an exciting time to be in business. I think our marketplace and our market share is only going to grow even more. Um, I think where we're going with AI replacing a lot of jobs, like uh, entry level jobs, I think it's an even better time to start a business and take control of your financial future. You know, for the longest time, I mean, our country is built on small business, right? That is the backbone of America. But as some jobs will be replaced, I think everybody understands that AI is a very strong force and a strong component. I would encourage more people to kind of take the bull by the horns, so to speak, and dip their toe into the small business world, even though it can be scary, um, because it's a more calculated risk to control your future than to be in a entry level job that may or may not be replaced in the next 5 to 6 years.
That is fantastic advice, I think, for anyone young out there looking at, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? How are they going to get into the job market? Maybe you don't have to get into the job market. There's so many opportunities. Excellent. Well,
Yeah, I
thank you, Josh. I
agree.
appreciate you meeting with me and sharing with the audience your background, which is quite an amazing story.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you,
having me,
sir.
David.
You got it. And we're still on, but I'll cut it from there. That was great. I really appreciate that. What I'll do from here is I'll edit this, and this needs very little editing. The first round was terrible, of course, because we cut out. But
Sorry, man.
uh, yeah, and if you know how you're going to use pieces of this, because I'll break it into like little smaller chunks that you can look at and decide how to use. The software kind of does that for us.
Okay.
I'll just make sure it's done correctly, and we'll kind of, you know, uh, work it from there. And then,
Yeah, send me the full cast if you would,
yes,
and then
I'll
just
do
send
that.
me like 5 to 10 clips that you want to use for marketing reels or whatever. I'll use them as well. I'll tag you in the post, all that good stuff.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. And then, what kind of businesses are you looking for? It sounds like you got a great pipeline, but as I run into
I
people,
own, yeah, the businesses that I buy into, it's like a case by case basis. We have construction services, we have a real estate arm, we own a bunch of like Airbnb properties on that side. I own some equity in a medical device. I've got a weed like THC drink out in Minnesota that's being developed. It's kind of
interesting.
all
Yeah,
over. Yeah, it's
yeah.
really all over the place. It's wherever we see opportunity and wherever we see undervalued assets. And again, I'd say the third component is wherever I believe that I can add value, meaning my skill set, can I bring value to this business? Because if I feel like I can bring value, then I can help that thing grow and I feel a lot more secure in investing money into it because I can control some of the output. So if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, no, yeah, I totally understand that. Where we can't add value, it just has a certain value, but or its own value to it. But if we can create the multiples by putting our secret sauce to it, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool. I will definitely send this to you. Are you open to me picking your brain here and there on things? You seem to have this
100%,
great
man. Yeah,
insight, so
just
I
reach out.
definitely.
You're good. I
Okay,
have
cool.
tons of clients that just reach out for stuff all the time.
Sweet. I love it. All right, thank you, Josh. All
All
right,
right.
have
Appreciate
a
the
great
time.
weekend. I'll get
Have a
this over
great
to you
day.
as soon as I can get it. It's probably gonna take me about a week based on what I have backlogged at the moment.
No issue. Thanks, David.
Cool. All right.
Bye
Cheers.
bye.
Bye bye.